Welcome back, dear viewers. I'm going to be switching gears today and doing something a little different. As the Something came up a couple days ago in my Lamentations of Elemental Evil campaign, and this particular supplement was very handy to help me address the situation. And so I wanted to highlight it because I used it and I really like it. So we're going to talk about RPG Pundit Presents Social Encounters on the Silk Road today, but don't worry, I will be getting back to magic use in Lamentations of the Flame Princess as Malthus Balefire, the magic user in my Lamentations of Elemental Evil campaign, is starting to research spells and really get into being a magic user. Some of the other supplements I have that we've been kind of using, kind of not, I think are going to become more prevalent. So we will be getting into those. For those of you who are new to my channel, basically it's part actual play, part review. I review stuff that I'm using, not stuff that I own per se. Okay, all due respect to YouTubers who do flip through reviews of games. That does nothing for me. I would prefer to talk to someone I know has used the supplement, used the module, used the game. That way, I don't know. That's what I would prefer. I want to get like an honest assessment of like what works and what doesn't, and that's what this channel is about. And if that's what you like, please hit like, subscribe, bell icon, yada yada yada. So let's begin. So what is RPG Pundit Presents Social Encounters on the Silk Road? Well, it's exactly that. It's advanced reaction roll mechanics. You can get it to Drive Through RPG. There's print on demand available. It's my understanding that it wasn't originally print on demand, but the popularity of the product kind of I guess forced the hand of Mad Scribe Games, the publisher. It's 20 pages long and absolutely beautifully illustrated, just like Sword and Caravan if you own that book. Lion and Dragon and Sword and Caravan are games that I'd really like to play. I don't have the time right now, but they're just beautiful books, as is this. And yeah, this is going to be very useful to you. Basically, that's what it is. And it's expansion on the reaction roll tables. And while it is ostensibly designed for Pundit's Lion and Dragon and Sword and Caravan games, it can be used just about anywhere in any game. That is sort of one of the reasons why I like Pundit's stuff. He really understands OSR game design philosophy as like a plug and play type of thing. This can be used. It's just handy, and that alone is worth the price of admission. So, how does it work? Well, as you may recall, whenever you do a reaction roll, you roll a 2d6 and consult a chart. Charisma bonuses may apply, and the chart will tell you how the NPC sort of reacts to the players. What Pundit's done is expanded it a little bit to include values, interests, and situational modifiers that can modify and alter the roll. I really like how simplistic this is. I think we have a tendency to get crunchy when we come up with our own things, and I think we tend to overcomplicate things, and I think it's good to be reminded that there's a beauty in simplicity, and that's what this entire supplement is pretty much about. It's just a simple, nice little mechanic, and it's not just a book full of encounter tables. It actually helps you design your own, which is incredibly useful as well. So, values, what are those? Well, they are the basic values the NPC has that may influence the reaction roll. They represent the NPC's personal beliefs or character traits. They can have multiple ones depending on how complex the NPC is. And the values will either give a penalty or a bonus to the roll depending on what the players are trying to do. And the book does contain a D30 table to help you generate something quickly. So on the one hand, you could design an entire social encounter for, let's say, the king. The players, going into your game session that the players are going to go talk to the king. So you could sit there and craft an NPC king with specific values and, you know, prepare yourself. Or the party just randomly tells you that they're going to bribe a guard to sneak into the king's castle to steal something, right? Well, you don't know anything about the guard. Well, you got this D30 table to help you out. Interests. These are an NPC's immediate desires and goals, what they're looking for, right? These two will provide a bonus or a penalty to the reaction roll. And again, depending on how complex the NPC is, you'll have multiple interests if you would like. There is a D20 table for that random generation if you need it. Again, king versus guard. And, you know, it's just something you could easily just keep with your books next to your DM screen and just pull out, and there you go. You have an NPC with a value and interest when they're trying to bribe him. You know, so if your NPC guard is trustworthy and is loyal to the crown, they're going to have significant penalties, right? But if they're greedy and admire wealth, the players are going to have some bonuses to the roll, right? So very useful. And situational modifiers, there's no list, there's no table. This is essentially GM's discretion. If something feels right, you know, add the bonus or the penalty, depending on, you know, what's going on. And like I mentioned before, there are examples in the book, everything from gambling, bribery, rumor mongering, legal disputes. I really like the gambling one because you don't have to come up with some weird game at the top of your head, and it's certainly better than some random D20 roll, which is really, you know, swingy. You know, the gambling is going to be, how do I want to put this, a little more, I guess, gamey, like depending on what the players are doing, they can actually have some kind of positive influence to and the results of the gambling. Legal disputes, I thought that was kind of interesting. I guess there's a lot of people getting sued in Lion and Dragon. I guess, I don't know, but it's there if you need it. The one I should have listed, though, is animal handling. That's actually probably my favorite chart. Because it just feels more realistic to me than a random D20 roll and like, oh, congrats, you succeeded in handling the animal, where this is a little bit more grounded in what would happen if your players encountered some random wild animal and want to try to not necessarily tame it, but communicate with it and deal with it in some way. I really like the animal handling table. It's a very useful table. So, okay, well, that's it. Like I said, this is going to be a short video today, guys. I think this is a very useful supplement. I think you should pick it up. It's $3.99 in the PDF. I picked up the hard copy because I like having hard copies. This is infinitely useful for the random moments and you need a quick answer to the party's inquiry into what they're planning on doing. It can also help you design specific social encounters that are planned and actually give you sort of like a roadmap to handling those. So it's useful for that alone. I have impartiality down because a few days ago I just said something on Twitter about rule of cool gaming and how I feel it leads to bias and favoritism, and I think in the social pillar of the RPG you have a big this is where I think that sort of thing can happen. I'm going to write a blog post about this, what I mean by rule of cool and why I don't like it. But with respect to social encounters, absent a mechanic, a coherent mechanic, I think you're going to be left with a game master's discretion, and that's not necessarily good. If the game master is playing favorites or inadvertently is biased towards or against someone at the table, that can affect the trust someone has, the players have uh, in their game master, and that can easily destroy your game, lead to bad feelings, that sort of thing. This, I think, is an excellent way to avoid it. You just roll on the table, and that's it. Hear what the players have to say, add the bonuses, add the penalties, and then roll. And if you want, I recommend you have them roll, so they sort of feel like they're in some control. Plus, players like rolling dice, so let them roll the 2d6. Um, so I think this is a great way to ensure impartiality for those social encounters. I break down Dagus and Turjan as an example. This is what happened a couple nights ago in my campaign. Dagus, our Arn dwarf, the convert to the Arn faith, goes to the church, and the party wants to try to get Turjan, the Inquisitor. He's a 6th level cleric, I believe. I can't remember what level he is now. Anyway, they want to get him to come with them to the moat house because there's some ghouls, and they're a little concerned about it, right? They donated a significant amount of money to the church, and they engaged them, and they made some promises, and based on those promises and what they've donated, I gave some bonuses. Turjan, being Inquisitor, would love to see the undead defeated and the advancement of the Arn religion across the borderlands, right? However, I did give them a -1 penalty because they travel with Malthus Bellfire, a magic user, a heretic, right? But in the end, I think there was a total of +4 to the roll, and unfortunately, Dagus rolled a 2. So Turjan declined to go with them, and that, through like the sort of emergent storytelling, has now demonstrated to the party that their alliance with the church is not as solid as they think it is. And at the same time, I was able to say, yep, that Turjan's not going with you. It's not, has nothing to do with any bias on my part. So anyway, I was really glad I had the social encounters along the Silk Road handy. It was within arm's reach, and I just kind of flipped to one of the charts. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was sort of one based on persuasion, and that's what I went with. So, but anyway, that's it for today, guys. I really think this is worth picking up, at least the PDF, so you have those. The advice from RPG Pundit on how to design your own social encounters. It's definitely worth it. And stay tuned. Hit that like button. Subscribe. I got more stuff coming in 2023. I want to kind of expand on the games I'm running, the public games I'm running, and kind of go from there. Find me on Twitter, and I'll see you around.